On today's episode, we'll do a little shop tour. I'll show you how I pack all this stuff into the little bit of space my wife lets me use in the garage, and show you some of the space-saving ideas I've had. And then this is the miter saw station itself. I made 2 angle iron brackets that attach to the base that this is built onto, just so I can make sure it's nice and secure. And then that gives a lot of support to the rest of the station because all the sides of the station tie back into that angle iron bracket. And so I had to angle that one up to make plenty of room for the workbench to go underneath. And then this one is able to angle down to make more room up top for some of the smaller power tools and that type thing. So I've had a couple of questions over the miter saw station, and it's really super simple. Just use construction grade lumber, screwed into the studs along the back wall. Have a brace going down the side here, and then a nice sturdy support for the workpieces out to the side. I did leave space in the back to build access for some dust collection, which is still on the to-do list, but there's space there for it whenever that time comes. Next up is going to be the traditional woodworking bench I put on a mobile base that I integrated into the build, and it comes up on these caster wheels and slides right over the table saw and then underneath the miter saw stand. So this is probably my favorite tool in the whole workshop, and I didn't realize just how much I needed it and wanted it until I built it, and I'm in love with it. It's great. I did a video on the build. You can see where I built the vise, the twin screw vise, just from scrap material basically I had laying around the shop. And so super inexpensive, super strong and effective, and just a great vise. And underneath the workbench I store my table saw, and then of course the miter saw stand, oscillating spindle sander, some of the different odds and ends that I use for the table saw. So this is the Rockwell model 22650, 2 horsepower motor, 220 volt, and it's just a beast. At this end of the miter saw station, I've got all my hand power tools that are hung on a French cleat system up on the wall. I really like it because they're up out of the way, but they're still real easily accessible. And with that French cleat system, it's very easy to move the configuration of tools around in case something isn't working out well for you. And then you may have seen, if you've watched the workbench build video that I did, you may have seen that there was a huge jointer stored underneath here, which worked great for storage. But that jointer, I worked with it a ton and could never get the thing set right. I had somebody else look at it and could never get the thing set right. And as huge as it was just a waste of space in my garage. I never used the thing. So with having the workbench, I've got really, really nice hand jointer, hand plane, and love it. I love doing hand tool work as much as possible. And now that I have some of the tools, and then of course have the workbench to use, that's really the way to go for me in this setting of such a small garage. One day, if I ever have a nice big shop, then I'm sure I'll get a power jointer again. But for now, with the space I have and the tools that I have, it just made sense to do that for me. But store one of my toolboxes underneath here, which has all my sockets, ratchets, wrenches, and that type thing in it. And then another toolbox here. Up here on the walls, my clamp rack, and you never have too many clamps. That's nice because it's up out of the way, and just super simple design. And then of course my heater, which gotta have being up here. But yeah, I moved from Oklahoma to Minnesota, had a decent sized shop there in Oklahoma, and then tried to move all this stuff into just a garage here. And it's been a challenge, but with some of these storage solutions, it's made it a lot easier. The main storage that I have for the back wall of the garage is definitely going to be this, I guess, a toolbox that I made. All I did was, there was a huge sale at Sears on these inexpensive Craftsman toolboxes, but the good ones with the decent ball bearing guides and that type thing. So full extension. I think each drawer could hold 100 or 150 pounds. So I bought 5 of the things and then just built this steel rack to slide each of the units into. And overall, I like it. It's a ton of storage, super inexpensive because of the sale. And then building the metal rack to put them all in, and then finishing it off with a butcher block top. I like to keep all the metalworking stuff at this end of the garage, to keep all the oil or metal shavings or that type thing away from all the woodworking equipment. But yeah, so just an Arbor Press here, Combining the portable bandsaw with this base is just awesome, because now you've got basically a metalworking bandsaw, and for a ton of the things that I would want to use a metal bandsaw for, this really does it. So this has been a huge asset, I think, to have when it comes to metalworking just in my garage. Then of course the drill press, and then a good vise to go with your drill press I think is really important. In this toolbox I just keep drill bits and that type thing. And then air compressor, my welder, which is a Miller 175. It's a 220 volt MIG welder. Really enjoy it. And then store my metal chop saw back here, and then a 12-inch disc grinder back here as well. And then an anvil. My father-in-law actually picked it up for me off Craigslist. I love Craigslist for that kind of stuff. It's a great tool. So when you're in a confined space, you try and get creative with storage ideas, and I couldn't find anywhere else to put this thing except up on the wall. This is a Soapbox Derby Car that I built with my son. You can find a video of it on our YouTube channel also, but a lot of fun to build, a great project to do with your kids. Then at this end of the garage, we've got lumber storage, so lumber rack up top, and then sheet goods or slabs or anything like that I might have will usually go down here. And we're able to pull the truck in right up next to it, and it works out pretty well. So this is the Laguna 14 SUV bandsaw, and I really like it. I think it's quite an item, quite a saw. I did a full review on another video on my channel. You can find that there if you like. But 3 horsepower, full 14 inches of resaw capacity, and it's not a gigantic footprint bandsaw. So for the size, I think this is really a great way to go. This is the Powermatic Model 719T, which for me was another awesome Craigslist find. The guy in the town, just the town over, was selling it on Craigslist, and I paid about the same that I would have paid for a benchtop model mortiser, and it's just a beast. Really like it. Use it on the blanket chest project right now, and it's quite a tool. I'm just wrapping up a full review video of it, so it'll be available on the YouTube channel here soon too. But yeah, it's quite a machine. I like it. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe for more videos.